She was nearly broke, stuck in New York with $35 and a dream no one believed in. Then she disappeared, not off the face of the earth, but into a version of herself no one had ever seen before. Blonde ambition, cone bras, Catholic controversy. And suddenly, she was everywhere. But what if I told you the real reason Madonna stayed on top for 4 decades wasn't talent? Wasn't scandal? Wasn't even luck? It was strategy. Ruthless, brilliant, brand strategy. And the craziest part? She's done it again. In a way nobody saw coming. Keep watching. Because this isn't a music story. It's a masterclass in reinvention, and the one thing you need to do now before your brand becomes irrelevant. New York City. Late 1970s. A skinny 19-year-old Madonna Ciccone steps off a Greyhound bus. No connections. No cash. Just raw determination and an unshakable belief that she'd become the most famous woman alive. And that wasn't delusion. It was branding before she even knew what branding was. Living in roach-infested apartments, working in donut shops, dancing in clubs for cash, she hustled. Yes. But more importantly, she watched. Observed. What made people turn their heads? What made them remember someone? She wasn't just trying to get famous. She was learning how to build an icon. Then 1983 hit like a lightning bolt. With her debut single, Holiday, Madonna didn't just enter the music scene, she hijacked it. Not because the song was revolutionary, but because she was. Neon mesh tops. Bangles stacked to her elbows. Dirty blonde curls and unapologetic attitude. And here's where her real genius began. Instead of letting the industry define her, she flipped the script. She made herself the story. Because Madonna wasn't selling music. She was selling Madonna. See, every few years, when critics thought they had her figured out, she shifted. Like clockwork. From street smart club kid. To Marilyn Monroe reincarnation. To dominatrix in lace. To the mystic yogi in the desert. To the unapologetic NFT dropper in her 60s. Every version of Madonna had a different audience, a different message, a different market strategy. Coincidence? Not a chance. What Madonna was doing, without ever calling it that, was running a full-scale personal brand audit every 5 years. She'd ask, what do people want? What's starting to feel stale? What part of my story do I need to rewrite? And that's the takeaway here. Evolve or risk becoming irrelevant. Whether you're an artist, a business, or a content creator, if you're not actively reinventing, you're slowly vanishing. MTV is booming. Pop culture is eating up controversy. Enter, like a virgin. White wedding dress. Writhing on stage. Catholic imagery exploding on screen. The world gasped. Parents protested. Madonna smiled. Because she knew something they didn't. Controversy is currency. But only when you control the narrative. She wasn't just breaking rules. She was building an empire. Each scandal? Free marketing. Each outrage? Millions in merchandise and tour tickets. Madonna wasn't reacting to culture. She was engineering it. Mid-80s. Madonna wasn't just the queen of pop. She was the face of rebellion. And what did she use as her loudest weapon? Not her voice. Not her lyrics. Not even her performances. It was fashion. She didn't follow trends. She birthed them. From lace gloves to rosary beads, fishnets to faux fur, every outfit was a billboard. Every red carpet a battlefield. And here's the kicker. Fashion wasn't just about looking cool. It was business. Madonna knew that every outrageous look would be copied, sold, and bootlegged worldwide. She wasn't losing control, she was expanding her reach. Because if you're in everyone's closet, you're in their mind. And once you're in their mind, you're making money in your sleep. Then came the tour that changed everything. The Blonde Ambition Tour. It wasn't just a concert. It was a brand spectacle. A touring Broadway meets Vogue meets Prayer Circle on speed. And it made millions. Not just from ticket sales, but merch, licensing deals, global TV rights. She turned a 90-minute show into a 9-figure empire. And again, it was all intentional. She didn't just sell a show. She sold a fantasy. A movement. One people would pay any price to be part of. It wasn't even about the songs anymore. It was about the identity she gave her fans. But let's take some break and talk about control. Every move, every moment, was choreographed to fuel the brand. She launched Maverick Records, not just to release music, but to own it. She cast herself in films, even when critics shredded her, because that was market expansion. She embraced sexuality when others played it safe, because that broke barriers and sold records. Madonna wasn't chasing approval. She was chasing power. And that power translated directly into financial freedom. No middlemen, no rules, no ceilings. She was turning pop culture into a private enterprise. See, here's the playbook move. If you rely on one stream of income, one product, one lane, you're exposed. Madonna never let herself be boxed in. She diversified before it was buzzword business school lingo. Music, fashion, acting, publishing, skincare, NFTs. The brand wasn't Madonna the singer. It was Madonna the ecosystem. That's a mindset shift, one every modern creator should study. Flash forward to the 2000s. Just when critics thought she was finally fading, Madonna did what Madonna always does. She reinvented. This time, a spiritual glow-up. She traded in fishnets for Kabbalah strings. Meditation, motherhood, mysticism. And yet, she still owned the headlines. Because her reinventions weren't random. They were perfectly timed. She read the room before the room knew it needed changing. And why it have worked. Here's the part they don't teach in school. Reinvention doesn't mean starting from scratch. It means updating the version of you that the world needs now. Madonna kept the core essence, boldness, ambition, rebellion. She just kept wrapping it in new packages. And that's why people stayed interested, curious, even obsessed. Because every few years, they weren't just getting the same artist, they were witnessing a transformation. Now, here's where it gets wild. Just when you think the world's passed her by streaming, TikTok, Gen Z running the charts, Madonna dives into Web3. Yep, NFTs, digital art, blockchain drops. And the internet? Lost its mind. Some called it desperate. Others called it weird. But financially? It was genius. Because she didn't just sell a JPEG. She sold access. A new layer of the brand. And guess what? It paid off again. At 60 plus, Madonna wasn't fading. She was expanding. And that's the golden thread of her empire. Every reinvention wasn't just art. It was intentional business strategy. She saw the cracks in the old systems and built new ones. She didn't chase trends. She outlived them. It's the mid-2010s. Streaming dominates. New stars are born every week. YouTube makes celebrities out of kids with iPhones. The industry Madonna once ruled? It's now a whole different game. And suddenly, the queen of reinvention starts to feel out of sync. Albums flop. Tours get criticized. Some fans whisper, is she trying too hard? Media begins writing her off. The icon, they say, is outdated. The shock factor? Doesn't work like it used to. And here's the twist. For the first time in decades, Madonna starts to doubt her brand. She'd built a billion-dollar empire on evolution. But now, evolution wasn't enough. The world had changed faster than her formula. And just like that, her brand was on the brink. Not financially, but culturally. The worst kind of crisis for someone whose name once defined the zeitgeist. A poorly received album. A string of awkward interviews. Social media posts that felt off. Not edgy. Just confusing. Even die-hard fans were silent. For someone who'd mastered image control for 30 years, this was uncharted territory. She wasn't ahead of the culture anymore, she was chasing it. And if there's one thing Madonna never wanted to be, it was a follower. Then came the moment. A viral performance that went horribly wrong. Critics mocked. Headlines screamed. The internet swarmed. And for the first time, the world wondered, was this the end of Madonna? She could have retreated. Let the legacy speak for itself. Sailed off into a golden retirement. But of course, that's not what Madonna does. Because this was the moment that triggered her most powerful reinvention yet. Not in music, not in fashion, but in mindset. Instead of clinging to the past, Madonna doubled down on the future. She listened. She observed. She studied how young creators were building platforms. She wasn't too proud to learn. And then she pivoted again. She stopped trying to shock the world. Instead, she let them see her. Raw. Unfiltered. Behind-the-scenes rehearsals. Honest reflections. Business moves exposed. She humanized the brand. And the world leaned back in. Madonna's next pivot wasn't aesthetic. It was emotional. Because she learned something powerful. In a world overwhelmed by perfection, vulnerability sells. Authenticity isn't a buzzword, it's a business asset. And suddenly, the legend felt relatable. Not because she got softer, but because she got realer. She reemerged, not as a pop star trying to stay young, but as an icon mentoring the next generation. She collaborated with Gen Z artists. She amplified young voices. She moved from being the moment to becoming the mentor. The brand shifted again. Not Madonna, the untouchable queen, but Madonna, the blueprint. And guess what? It worked. Again. Because here's the unspoken branding rule Madonna cracked wide open. When you make your brand about yourself, you limit your shelf life. But when you make it about a movement, you make it immortal. She wasn't just reinventing Madonna. She was reinventing what it meant to be a woman in power, in business, in the spotlight at any age. And that's the twist no one saw coming. Not her downfall, but her evolution into legacy. Today, Madonna's no longer trying to top the charts. She doesn't have to. She's a mother, an art collector, a director, a tech investor, a mentor to rising stars. And quietly, without the noise and the headlines, her empire keeps growing. Streaming royalties? Still rolling in. Merch sales? Global. Art investments? Ballooning in value. NFTs and crypto experiments? Risky, but forward-thinking. Live tour revenue? Even now, breaking records. Because the brand she built? It's not fading. It's expanding. Madonna isn't just a person anymore. She's a platform. Here's the big truth. She didn't just survive 4 decades in the most cutthroat industry in the world. She owned it. And not just creatively, but financially. She didn't just license her image. She controlled it. She didn't wait for labels. She launched her own. She didn't follow marketing trends. She set them. She knew that attention fades, but ownership lasts. That's what separates the stars from the legends. And here's where it hits home for you. Madonna's greatest business move wasn't a single reinvention. It was building a system around constant self-auditing. Every 5 years, she asked, what's no longer working? What does the world want now? Where's the culture going? And how can I get there first? What part of my identity needs to evolve? This isn't just for celebrities. It's for you, me, entrepreneurs, creators, anyone building anything. If you're not asking those questions regularly, you're falling behind. Your brand isn't static. It's alive. And if Madonna can reinvent herself at 65 with blockchain, pink hair, and sold-out arenas, what's stopping you? Here's the legacy she leaves us with. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the world to catch up. Don't wait until your brand is broken to fix it. The blueprint is right in front of us. Be bold. Be strange. Be early. Be unapologetically strategic. Reinvention isn't failure. It's survival. It's wealth creation. And it's the one thing they don't teach you in school. If you found this story as eye-opening as we did, hit that subscribe button right now. This is Money and Fame, where we break down the real financial stories behind the world's biggest names. Which celebrity's financial story would you like to hear next? Drop their name in the comments. We're watching. Thank us and see you.